MSNBC to be sued for defamation. Trump's classified document case is thrown out. And has the assassination attempt made Trump a better listener? He's now all ears, despite having a little less ear. That and more on this week's America Uncovered headlines. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. A vending machine that sells ammunition debuted at a grocery store in Alabama, Texas, and Oklahoma. Hopefully not at Whole Foods, though. I wouldn't want to spend $3 extra per bullet just because they're organic and free range. They still contain lead. Now, not just anyone can get ammo from the machines, though. They use facial recognition software and AI to scan IDs and verify people's identity. But wait, there's more ammo vending machines. The distributor of the machines, American Rounds, is also currently adding one in Colorado, and they've received offers from stores in Florida, naturally, and Hawaii and California. But those states are bluer than a Smurf. Well, actually, that makes sense, because not every state is all blue or all red. They look more like camo you'd wear if you're trying to blend into a melted mixed cherry blue raspberry icy. I love America. If you're wondering what kind of backwoods rednecks would allow ammunition in grocery store vending machines, it's the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. These vending machines don't sell guns, so the Bureau is allowing this because a federal license isn't required to sell ammunition, which is a shame. I'm just learning about this now. I could have made so much more money as a kid with an ammo stand instead of a lemonade stand. A Georgia judge ruled that a doctor can sue Rachel Maddow and other MSNBC hosts for defamation after they made verifiably false statements about her. In 2020, a source alleged that Dr. Amendra Amin, who provided medical care to female illegal immigrants detained at Irwin County Detention Center in Georgia, performed unnecessary hysterectomies. NBC's Standards Department was skeptical about the story, and to this day, it's never been proven. And yet, multiple shows across NBC and MSNBC, including ones hosted by Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow, ran the story and referred to Amin as a uterus collector, which is easily the grossest thing someone could collect, besides jars of YouTubers' farts and boob sweat. Not because they're farts and boob sweat, but because they're YouTubers. NBC tried defending themselves, saying they weren't calling the doctor these things, they were just reporting what they heard. But the judge wrote in her decision, if accusations against a plaintiff are based entirely on hearsay, the fact that the charges made were based upon hearsay in no manner relieves the defendant of liability. Charges based upon hearsay are the equivalent in law to direct charges. In other words, you can't say it's not defamation just because it's based on something you heard if you're amplifying it on a massive platform. Of course, MSNBC has a legal precedent they'll likely use to defend themselves in this case. In 2019, One America News Network sued Rachel Maddow for defamation when she called them literally paid Russian propaganda. But the judge dismissed the case, saying that no reasonable viewer would believe Maddow's reporting facts on her program. The same conclusion was reached in a defamation case former Playboy model Karen McDougal filed against Tucker Carlson on Fox News. And I agree with these decisions. Because if someone is actually trying to get facts in this day and age from the 24/7 TV news channels, they're definitely not being reasonable. Now, I may be arrested by the news police for the last segment, not because I criticized journalists, but because I went 2 minutes without talking about the Trump assassination attempt. That wasn't the only bullet Trump dodged this week. Trump's classified documents case was dismissed by Judge Eileen Cannon, who was appointed by Trump in 2020, after she ruled special counsel Jack Smith's appointment violates the Appointments Clause of the United States Constitution. She wasn't alone in this opinion, as 2 weeks ago, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas asked if Smith was improperly appointed when discussing the ruling in the presidential immunity case. Smith, who looks like a picture of me aging behind a curtain in an attic, says he will appeal this decision. However, this decision guarantees the trial won't get underway before the presidential elections in November. And this ruling could be extra beneficial for Trump, one legal analyst explains.
This will go up because this is not just a ruling on this specific case. This is a ruling on the constitutionality of the appointment of Jack Smith. So you better believe that Trump's team is loading this into their arsenal for any other case. Of course, the documents case and the January 6th case, they're going to use it.
Oof. While that is a sound strategy given what Trump went through last week, maybe don't use the expression loading into their arsenal. And speaking constantly about the Trump assassination attempt, after the break, more fallout from it. Welcome back. MSNBC didn't air their popular show Morning Joe on Monday due to the Trump shooting. A CNN source said this was because they were afraid one of the several anti-Trump guests on the show would say something inappropriate, which is an understandable concern. If you get more than 2 anti-Trump people in a room and there's an awkward silence that lasts more than 0.2 seconds, there's a 90% chance you'll hear a sentence that includes Hitler. Just ask Jack Black, who canceled the remainder of his band, Tenacious D's tour after his bandmate, Kyle Gass, joked that he wished the shooter hadn't missed Trump. I assume Tenacious D will say this wasn't the worst timed joke in the world, it's just a tribute. However, MSNBC contradicts CNN's report, saying they canceled the show because they were in breaking news mode still covering the attempted assassination story, which I totally believe, because as a reasonable person, I know MSNBC reports nothing but facts. Man, I bet President Biden is jealous of all this extra free publicity Trump is getting. Let's give him a turn. Biden tested positive for COVID and canceled a speech he was going to give in Las Vegas. While only showing mild symptoms, I wouldn't be surprised if Biden was like, hey, look at me, I survived a near-death experience. How about a boost in polls for me? Come on, man, this pick goes just as hard. We wish the president a speedy recovery. After all, we know how sad he must be, not having his sense of smell. The Republican National Convention took place this week. As a result of Trump's assassination attempt, the Secret Service strengthened security for the event. And by strengthened, I assume they mean do literally anything besides seeing a strange person crouched on a roof with a rifle and thinking, I wonder what he's going to do with that. But the RNC wasn't the only thing receiving extra security. President Biden ordered the Secret Service to protect independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as well. While a nice gesture, I think it's a little bit of overkill for a way outside shot third candidate. I mean, is he really in danger? Who's heard of someone wanting to gun down a Kennedy? Oh, I just heard myself say it out loud. Yep, good move. As if surviving an assassination attempt by mere inches by turning his head at the exact moment he did wasn't lucky enough, Donald Trump's net worth jumped over $1 billion since the event took place. Shares in Trump Media, Truth Social's parent company, have surged. So to recap, every time he was indicted, Trump shot up in the polls. Then when somebody literally tried to shoot him, it made him $1 billion. I don't know if there are guardian angels, but I'm convinced Trump has a judo angel watching over him, because whatever's thrown at this guy gets flipped on its head. Also, I fully expect to see this image on your aunt's Facebook page, or for sale at a country fair in the near future. The wait is over, and Trump finally announced his vice presidential running mate. I wonder who it will be. I know there's no way it would be J.D. Vance. I read in the media that Trump doesn't like facial hair. So Vance has a problem on his face. Trump is famously not a fan of beards, not even his own son's. And after this past weekend, Trump is especially known for a close shave. So let's see who his running mate will be. Oh, it's J.D. Vance. It's almost like the media just makes up stuff when they talk about Trump. Vance is a surprising pick, not just because Vance used to hate Trump before undergoing an ideological shift. Vance even once called him America's Hitler, because if Democrats and Republicans can unite over anything, it's calling anyone they don't like Hitler. He's also teamed up with Democrats on a number of bills. Vance served in the Marine Corps, is a Yale graduate, and his memoir, Hillbilly Elegy, about the struggles of growing up in poverty in Middletown, Ohio, was turned into a movie directed by Ron Howard. But who cares about all that? All I want to know is how Lincoln-y is his beard. A tad less chin-strappy and a scooch more mustachy. As a proud POB, person of beard, seeing a 39-year-old scrufflord obtain this honor is the most I felt represented in politics since, well, ever. And of course, the final night of the Republican National Convention featured a speech from an orange-skinned, pathological, lying narcissist icon from the 80s with an unhealthy obsession for his daughter, known for tweeting mean things about his critics from the toilet, and once got in a lot of trouble over comments he made on a video he wasn't aware was being recorded. I'm of course talking about Hulk Hogan. Oh, and Donald Trump was also there. All kidding aside, the attempt on Trump's life seems to have changed his campaign strategy, if not potentially his outlook on life. Trump rewrote his speech for the RNC, choosing to focus on unity instead of Biden's policies, which he did.
The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. Together we will save this country. We will restore the republic. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before.
Although he couldn't quite ignore Biden completely.
I say it often. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. Only going to use the term once. Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time.
Well, technically that was 2 times. Meanwhile, in an interview with the New York Post, Trump said the doctor at the hospital said he never saw anything like this. He called it a miracle. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be dead. It really was miraculous. And how did Trump receive such a miracle? The God Bless the USA Bible, the only Bible endorsed by former President Trump. We've been joking about this for months, but I'm starting to think it's not a joke, and $60 isn't enough to charge for it. Besides the Bible, it also contains a handwritten course to God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance. The only way this Bible could be more American is if it were hollowed out with a revolver in it that you brought with you to the grocery store to buy some ammo in a vending machine. Speaking of God, check out our other channel, Gamers Unbeaten, where I use the game This War of Mine to hide a discussion on God being dead. It's a fun one. An American Covered wouldn't exist without your support. Click that orange button to support us on Patreon. All it takes is $1 an episode, and you can set a monthly limit. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.